So good morning. Quiet, dark time up here on the mountain in Colorado. Figuring to get back to Battle Brothers. I've been jumping around. Fell down a Tarkov hole for a while. So want to try to get back. And I've been reading a set of novels called The Black Company from Glenn Cook. Started in the 80s. That seems to be a fairly prolific series called The Black Company, and it's about a band of sort of vagabond mercenaries, and it reminds me a lot of the game. I picked up Glenn Cook on the advice that he was sort of like Joe Abercrombie, who I just recently finished reading nearly everything I think he's written, which are really good books. Highly recommend. But sort of that grim, dark fantasy RPG-ish type storylines. But regardless, on the Black Company, the goal here is that we are going to simulate them to a degree that we can, and go at it in a deserter start. We're running the latest versions of the test builds of the Legends beta mod, which is 15.02.10, and I have brought in PTR, which is like, I believe, 16.3, and seems kind of interesting. I really like the angle that the two mods have taken with varying the perks and making things not as predictable as the original, and doing things like having weapon buff skill trees and the like is just, I think it adds to the RPG of the game overall. So we're going to start out as deserters. We start with 3 deserters, decent army, lower funds, and that we can only be joined by outlaws or combat backgrounds, and a noble house wants to hunt you down. I think that's been modified in Legends, that outlaws and combat backgrounds are happy to join us, but we might be able to hire other people. I haven't really tested that theory. And we get good initiative because we can run away, which is maybe something to try to take advantage of as a mechanic. And we have an increased chance of finding other craven dastard deserters in the disowned like ourselves. So we're going to go forward and call ourselves the Black Company. I like the idea of permanent destruction. I think we need a dark banner. Not clear. I don't think I've gotten far enough in the books to understand what exactly is the banner that they use. I think we're going to go with the Reaper. Feels sufficiently dark, though the bones make me think we should be orcs. We're going to go veteran medium. I like that because it's like balanced, and I always like to think that I'm playing in some level of balance to how the developers intended. We're going to go Iron Man, unexplored map. I want to make sure all the trade buildings are available, and we're going to do specific professions for Battle Sisters, everything else default, and off we go. You go back in the VODs, I tried this start, similarly a couple days back, and but we lost our first 2 of our starting characters in the first couple battles, and I want to give it another run. So long marches on old boots, snow, fight, rain, fight, being charged by a line of heavy horse. Pick up that spear, fight, fight, always fight. But even the simplicities nod. As for socks, get told to steal them from the peasants. Ask for a better meal, have your serving given to the ground. The ways of the soldier do not bother you, killing does not bother you, nor does the threat of death, the disrespect of the nobles, the lack of responsibility by the lieutenants who bravely throw you to the meat grinder. That is what saps the will. That and the boredom, The endless day after day after day tedium of nothingness. It is somewhat ironic that you and 3 other deserters abandoned the war camp on the day they did. A grand meal was given to the soldiers, a celebration of victory, they called it. Your plate was pushed to the rims with foodstuffs, portions that belonged to men who died that day. And you ate that food, you ate it right up. And then you picked up your bags, went on the watch for the evening, and simply slipped away. For engineering the escape, 3 other deserters elected to follow your command. You'd forge your own path as a sellsword, where the pay would at least match the pain. But first, you'll have to make your way to other lands, for if you stay here for too long, the noose will surely be where you meet your end. We will take destiny into our own hands. Let's take a look at our roster. We have 3 pretty well-equipped dudes. And we're going to also go along and do some renaming so that the company is in line with some of the characters from the Black Company. I think our frontline guys, we are going to make Otto, who is one of the grizzled veterans of the Black Company, and Hagup. We are going to make our archer Croker, who is in the storyline, the company physician and analyst. An analyst in the keeping the annals of sort of way, rather than like computer analyst, which is funny to have to distinguish. And so we started with really good equipment. They both have heaters. Let's take a look. Otto is huge, which I actually like because I think in the PTR perk trees, he will get Colossus because it's been moved to the huge or large perk tree. Hagup is a craven and insecure. Great. Croker is a weasel and a pessimist. So it's going to be with this start. It's going to be hard to balance out our terrible resolve and see how to balance for that, I think. And that may involve a lot of running. I think that we're going to need to concentrate on buffing it to the degree that we can. Like, I would rather make sure that... So, I think we're going to take fatigue for certain. I think we're going to take resolve, and we're going to take that initiative because we want to keep fast, particularly if we need to get out of dodge. And then for his perks, he should have Colossus. The other possible interesting trait, and I think this comes straight out of PTR because I don't recall seeing it before, is Phalanx. And that's 5 melee defense from your shield wall. Now, I think Colossus would be a powerful addition for both of these guys. But I also think Phalanx would be. It feels a little funny to think of deserters holding the shield wall. This back to basics perk also seems fairly powerful. And it could help our resolve. So let's try that. See what happens. Yeah, that was a nice little bump across the board. Take it. I think we're going to take it across all three guys. Buff our ranged attack, our initiative. He's marking a crossbow. He's going to need his fatigue. Alright, so House Rotling hates us, as do a number of civilian towns: Doran, Dustermark, Hammerden, Holmwick, Crouchcore, Salthaven, Townwheeler, Trocken, Weissendorf. Okay, try not to take any contracts that lead us in that direction. So we are in the mid-eastern portion of the map, and we are going to try to find our way outside of the Reach. Let's head this direction and see what we find. Okay, coming upon a town. More than likely they're going to hate us. Eichwart, so we're going to back out of there. Don't want to be in that kind of marshy forest land and move slow enough that we get killed. So we were repairing and healing. We really just want to keep moving while that goes on. Okay, watchtower. Let's kind of skirt the outskirts of it. Yep. Knew that was coming. So we have a company chasing us. We're going to cut through the forest. Hopefully we can lose them in the night. It's far more than our 3 starting characters can handle. Looks like we have found a decent enough mountain pass. We will need to find friendly territory. So, our initial ambition, we can either do... Morning, Jackie. We can either do a battle standard cooks and scouts trading, but 25 items. I think we're going to try to be reliable mercenaries. What are you doing up this early, Jackie? That was awful roundabout. Got nowhere. I think we know that hostile territory is likely down to the south of us. So a couple thugs, a poacher, and some bandit rabble poachers. I don't think we can get away. So let's see how the Black Company does. I think we're going to need to go and try to cut these guys down. Nice shot. Broker. Two nice hits on that. Slinger. We're gonna shield wall. Reloaded. Nice. I'm gonna retreat a little. Keep to the deserter name. I'm baffled. Need to get Otto to cut us a way out is our current goal. I'm gonna try to shield. Perfect. Nice shot. That should be it for us. There. And they're going to retreat. I'm not going to be able to catch them because of the forest terrain. Nice little battle. Went well for us. Got a little bit of a useful equipment too. Let's check what we can take advantage of there. 40 to 35. We're going to drop it on Croaker. The Monk's Robe, 25. We have Gambesons across the board. Yeah, thick tunic. That's better than a Monk's Robe. We're going to drop Dagger on Croaker. We did lose a shield in that battle, which wasn't great. Give him a good two-hand. Give him the dagger as well, just to try to do some non-destructive dispatching if we win a battle. We didn't get any experience enough to... Nice first encounter for... and we find a friendly town, which is great. So... not much in the way of equipment. We can and are going to want to replace the shield that we lost. I like the idea of these Militia Glaives too. Let's take a look and see if there's anybody that we can bring on. We could bring on pretty much everybody here. 2 apprentices. I'm not sure if an apprentice counts as a combat background in the Legends mod. I'm going to check that out right now. Let's see. No. combat backgrounds do not include apprentices. May not be the worst thing, though. We also have a poacher and a butcher. Which I think also do not fall into that mix, except for maybe the poacher. No, the poacher's not in the mix either. Yeah, poacher feels like a potential combat background to me. Well, I think what we want to make sure of is that our main guy is equipped. So we want to get him back with a shield. That's Hagop. Let's check out what the contract is before we make too many decisions. Citizens are starving because brigands keep sneaking into the granary during the night. Let's talk money. We need to be paid more. We'll take it. So we have a brigand's quest. I think we can spend nearly all of our money. We need 37 crowns a day. We could take on these 2 apprentices. Potentially give them slings, and that might help us a little. Let's try it, see what happens. First of all, I want to make sure. Okay, nice. He likes becoming a deserter. Perfect. Welcome to the crew. Let me give you a sling. We got shit for ranged attack, though. Melee defense and otherwise. He's a drunk. There's one of the reasons he's terrible at ranged. Gonna hire them both. I think they're gonna have to live through a battle before we give them a name. We're also gonna give them some 2-handed weapons. And it'll be up to them to survive. Guy's also euphoric, unpredictable, and double-tongued. I think double-tongued might be something that I would be considered at some points. Talking shite. Alright, it's about to be nighttime. Should make it through the forest by morning. Don't know what kind of garrison we're up against yet. Just trying to explore the forest too while we're at it. Still unknown. Still unknown. We're going to be going into fortifications. We're just going to have to hope. Alright. Many bandit rabble, few brigand poachers. I feel like we may survive that. But we really don't have much of a choice, being that we're low on everything. So we're going to have to hope we make our way through it. Okay, we got one bowman. Bunch of unarmored rabble. Let's see if they come out to meet us. They have 2 slingers. So, 4 guys coming on each of our flanks. Only a 14% chance to hit, so I'm not going to get too concerned. Woo! Nice. Nice first shot there, kid. I think we're going to have to give you a name if you live through it. Got a shot by on Hag Up. Nice hit. This rabble seems to be fairly dodgy. Nice. Broker gets a good hit. We miss him twice. That was unfortunate. Could cost us the life. Nice shot. Our 2 apprentices have come into good use. Agop is cutting down the one bandit and shot at this guy. I think that loot might actually be valuable, so we're going to try to chase him down. Nice. Agop finishes that slinger. I think that's going to be victory. I don't think we'll be able to catch this guy because of the terrain. Nice. So, good initial performance from our two new apprentices. And we got to farm some experience and a bit of equipment. Everything that we need. I hadn't thought linen tunic. I'll improve a little bit with that monk's robe. Alright, see what we can do. We're going to keep on bumping up his resolve, his fatigue, and his initiative. Now, perks wise, ever ally, heft, slinger splints, bins, exploit opening. Whenever an opponent misses a melee attack against you, they are exploitable. I'm leaning towards we're either actually gonna take a second first tier perk, which would either be Colossus to bump our health since we haven't been buffing it separately, or Phalanx, and we'll both get an additional 5 melee defense. And then if we get spears, take a look at Agop 2 first before we make any decisions. And bump up his resolve, his speed. We're going to go with melee attack on him. Bolster. And so I have not ever really played through with PTR, so I have no idea as far as quite a few of these new options. We're going to give him back to basics. It's going to buff him early on. And for auto, we're going to give him Phalanx. I think because these guys survived, we are going to give them company names. I think you're going to be Tom Tom, who didn't do that well in the first book, but we'll see. and One Eye, who were brothers, I believe, in the books. Broker's gonna buff his range skill, his fatigue. I think we want to buff his health. So, he took back to basics. Balance. Gain 15 melee defense and wearing light armor. Range supremacy, 10% chance to hit against. Oh, that's a pretty good one. We're going with range supremacy. Alright, our stash has been distributed. We're going to move back to Tabanmoose and collect our just rewards. Gotta scout a little more of this forest while we go. Tabanmoose. Carls of Tabanmoose opens the door for you as you get to his home. He's got a satchel in his hand and holds it up. I take it by your return that the brigands are dead. You nod. The man leaves the satchel your way. You tell him you could be lying. Carls of Tabanmoose shrugs. Could be, but world travels fast for those who bite the hands that feed. Good work, sellsword, unless you're lying, of course. Then I'll come find you. 330 crowns, and we remove ambush trade routes. Stuff is mostly garbage that we have. I'm going to sell it off. Could do with a hood. I don't think we want to spend the money on that. I am interested in that Militia Glaive. Seems like a pretty decent early game weapon. I'm going to step away for half a second. Be right back. Alrighty. Everything back in business? It is. Okay, so do we go Militia Glaive? I think the only weak part of it is it doesn't do particularly well against armor. But early on here, hopefully we're not going to be facing that many armored guys. We do need better equipment overall. I'd previously smoked a portion of this cigar before, and it is making it particularly harsh. Go ahead and pick that up. Oh, shite. It's two-handed? Reading is for kids. Gives Croker a little bit better of a way to defend himself. We'll take it. So it seems like we've gotten to the end of the road, which doesn't make 100% sense that there would be nothing to the north of us here. That would be human. I'm going to jump out into these woods and see what we can find. And I think what we'll do is effectively take the long way around to where we just retreated from, while clearing a little more map. Like we want to face 4 dire wells just yet. Tools. You know, really shouldn't have sold some of that garbage for nearly no money. And should have salvaged it for tools. We know there's a hostile town down there. we're gonna really just try to get around it. And this could be another hostile town. If they send anybody after us, we could be in trouble. We could be in trouble. See if we can get away. Send out the militia. I think we should be able to get away. Life is not easy for the Black Company, being a bunch of hated deserters and a group of Nebuchadnezzars, because I can never really have a mental block against their real name. Sort of nice if those two ran into each other. Be interesting if we could find out what was in there and see if there's anything to profit off of. We were fully out of supplies. We were almost out of food. We are fully repaired. Did we take the chance? Really nice if we can get some scouting intel on it. Let's hope. Let's try it and hope. The militia is still after us. Holy cow. Wow. Alright, we are going to absolutely 100% run. What is that? Got like a leather mask on? Yes, yes, there are far too many of you for us to think about potentially fighting. So we are just going to run. That guy is particularly freaking spooky. Sirs, let's get out of Dodge. So the militia is still coming for us. And they're far more than we can handle. Gonna run out of food. Gonna run for Tavern Moose. Hope we have enough provisions to get there. I think we should. Like the dire wolves lost a wolf. They could probably still kill us. Now, I think we're going to take another, the Bringers of Peace. Wimpy name for a bunch of mercenaries. Disappearing villagers, which are probably those dire wolves that we saw. Lumberjack, a hunter. We need food. Fresh meat will spoil. Fresh fruit will spoil. Do we eat a day? 10. We're going to go with the grain. See what we can do as far as this contract. Gerard the Burgermeister is looking out his window when you find him. There's a goblet in his hand and there's nothing but silence outside. He turns to you, almost somber. When you came here, did you realize how quiet it was? You remark that you did, but you're a sellsword who looks the part. It's just what you're accustomed to. Gerard the Burgermeister nods and takes a drink. Ah, of course, unfortunately, it isn't that the people are afraid of you, not this time. We have had people attacked these past week. Beasts of some sort are on the loose. We know not what they are, but only who they take. We pleaded with our lord, of course, but he has done nothing to help us. His next drink is a long one. When he finishes, he turns to you, empty cup in hand. Will you go hunt these monsters down? Please, sellsword, help us. What are you prepared to pay? You need to be paid more. Fair enough, you'll be given 300 crowns when the contract is done. We're going to take it because we need it. And we need to risk survival to get it. So hunt down what terrorizes Tavern Moose. I'm going to guess it's the... Don't see any tracks. I'm going to guess it's those dire wolves that we saw. Which might be a bad guess. We don't want to really fight them at night. I think usually with this event you see tracks, but I have yet to. I'm going to go into this forest to the south. Bringers of Peace. You come across a man kneeling over a thoroughly destroyed dog. I was going to kill the dog. Did the beast do this? He shakes his head. No. Hell, I did this. Finally, damn thing ain't going to keep me up anymore. Then a hut across the way opens up, and a man sprints out of it screaming, "Is that my damn dog, you son of a bitch?" The dog dealer quickly stands up. The beast, they visited us again last night. We quietly leave the dispute where the dog lies. Signs of battle. That was our battle site. Where do we find this? Fortunately, those nachos. 7 of them. Be nice if we could get the Bringers of Peace to help us, but we can't. This could be a bad go for us. We're going to take... We're going to take this high ground. I don't really want to do too many ranged kills because they'll just eat them. We want to weaken them so that when they reach our front lines, they're not as powerful. Broke one. Could be bad. Nice. And they're broken. Just a little broken. Probably should have taken the win. Whew. So Tom survived his wounds with some fairly horrific injuries, and he is scarred. Interesting. It's actually like a survival buff, even though he has a permanent debuff to his hit points and fatigues. Not a bad little victory. Wasn't clear that they would be able to survive that one. The fight is over. You walk to the dead Nacho, we'll call him that, and take a knee. Were it not for a gate of ill-shapen teeth, you could easily fit your head in the beast's oversized maw. Instead of admiring the dental failures at hand, you instead take out a knife and saw its head off, ripping through a very tough outer layer of skin before surprisingly easily cutting through the muscles and tendons. You raise the head up and order the Black Company follow suit. Gerard the Burgermeister will be expecting some proof after all. Back to Tabenmoose. We're going to head back. Between the battle and walking to Gerard the Burgermeister's place, the maw of the Nacho become filled with flies, its tongue replaced by a formless, throbbing black ball that's more buzz than bite. Gerard the Burgermeister takes one look at it and puts the cloth to his mouth. Yes, I get it. Take it away, please. He waves one of his guards over, and you are handed a satchel of 300 crowns. You gain 300, and Tabenmoose no longer has disappearing villagers. Successful hunt. We get a little buff of cash. You're completely out of tools. We can sell some of our... Yeah, so that was a little bit rough on the party, but survived. Let's upgrade Hag up. Give him a buff to resolve to try to help with his relative lack of. Give him a little bit of melee attack and health. Perks wise, we're going to go for Phalanx and try to gain advantage from fighting next to another shielded brother. Our two apprentices have leveled up. We're going to take melee defense, attack, and health. So perks wise for an apprentice, we have the student perk, which in the long term could be good for him. I think that's the direction we're going to go. Trying to get him, if he does survive, to gain as much experience as possible. So One Eye, I'm going to give him a buff to ranged attack. And take a buff to initiative and to ranged defense. Perks wise, he doesn't get student. I figured both of them would as apprentice. And give him an extra chance to hit the head of our enemies. Right, so we really need some tools. Even though they're expensive and going to take half our cash, we need to put ourselves back into a decent fighting shape. We have 2 days of food. We're going to grab some. We're going to get on the road and repair. So we have to get through and out of this area if we can. So far we've failed twice at getting around Dustermark. I think what we're going to do is take the road here and then head south and see if we can get to some friendly area. Let's cut to the west of this swamp. See if we can get to some better territory. At a mountain range. Looks like we may be boxed in. on that side. Let's see if we can get around it to the east or to the west here. Get up on this hill, see if we can see a little more. Found a nice pass through the mountains. But yet more mountains. We could easily die out here. We have about a day's worth of provisions left. Looks like we're coming up on potential town. Let's hope that it's friendly. Another group of nachos. And it looks like some unfriendly militia. That was Tannenweiler, who do not like us. Survival is difficult. So if we assume Tannenweiler's here, and we're still in unfriendly territory, I want to try to see if we can find that caravan would have been. Looks like the road ends here, which isn't great either. Starvation could be in our future. So it looked like the militia went back into Tannenweiler. I think we're gonna hope that if we head, where was that, a cache? This direction, maybe we can chase down that caravan. We need something to save us, or else we're gonna start losing men and starve. There's the caravan going through Weisdorf. See if we can catch it. It's really the only thing that we have possible. It's kind of a large trading caravan. We're gonna fight it at night. Not awesome. We're gonna go do melee. Desperate men in desperate times. We'll take the high ground with our 2 men in a phalanx. Broker gets a shot off. Lose Tom Tom. He was beheaded. I don't think he's going to survive that one. I think this is it for the Black Company, unfortunately. Our Fabio moves forward. And the end of the Black Company happens at the hands of desperation. Starvation and lack of funds led us to take on more than we could. And the men were cut down by a caravan of our enemies. That was a hard run. Primarily, we only had one friendly town that we could find, and we needed more than that. And attrition and time took us out. Thought we should have earned more than 0 points, but the history of the Black Company will be forgotten in a few years. In that moment, a barkeep will be asked about mercenaries and he'll pause thinking it over, and then your face will fade from his memory and your name will pass with it. He will shrug and pour another drink. Well, dang. That was rough. I thought we were going to do a little bit better, but survived about an hour and a half. I'm going to roll it again, see if we can get a better start. I mean, we just need to survive this. We need to find a way to get to friendly territory so that we can build up a little bit of a base before coming to an end like we just did. So I'm going to try one more time. I don't know how much longer we'll take it, but we're going to take our deserter origin again. We're going to be the Black Company. We're going to change up our standard, and we're going to use the Black Raven. Permanent destruction. Veteran, medium Iron Man. Unexplored map. All trade buildings. Scale recruits. Specific for Battle Sisters. Everything else there. Let's see how we roll. I already read this once today. I'm not going to read it again. We'll take our destiny in our old hands. Let's take a look at our guys. All right. So, in the interest of keeping to the lore, we have Croaker, our archer. He is afraid of the undead and an asthmatic. Not great. Turnston is a brute with steady hands. And he currently has better range skill. We're going to make Torsten, we call him Elmo, which is the sergeant from the Black Company. Donbert, going to be One Eye. Alright, so decent equipment in disrepair. It's not the greatest amount of food. One Eye is unpredictable and a craven. He has 9 resolve. This is a hard start. Alright, so let's see perks wise. Perks wise, we get back to basics on all 3 guys. I think that's a pretty powerful first level perk for these guys, especially because we take it, we end up with buffs across the board. In particular, we get a really nice buff on range skill. Be nice to get him some throwing weapons. We're going to do it on Croaker as well. He gets a similar really nice buff on range skill. That almost seems unbalanced. Like, almost like a bad calculation, you would think, but it's not. So, now interestingly, I think here is that the more points we take in the categories that are buffed by back to basics, we're going to lose some. So it's going to be a percentage up and a percentage down. Which makes me think we should concentrate on some other potential skills like health and fatigue. And range defense. And for Croaker, we're going to do fatigue. Going to do ranged attack. And initiative. And so we increased 4 and we lost 1. Okay, so we're center north. We have the House Ulbrich that is hostile to us. Eichholz, Esherheim, Hemstadt, Hellstadt, and Lordstadt. That's not too bad. There's only 5 hostile civilian villages. Which means House Ulbrich is probably not one of the larger of the villages that are our enemy. We have Hammerwald there. Hammerwald on this list? It is not. It's just a fort. Alright, we're going to head on the roads and see if we can find a way to friendly territory. Pick another town. And it is hostile Lordstadt. Okay, back out of there and head north. I have a trading caravan. It's probably more than we can deal with, so we're going to pass it by. Another town, Hempstead. Got to cut through here without riling up the militia. That's 2 of the 5 towns that are hostile to us we have found. We reached the snow line. I think we probably have to assume that there is not a friendly kingdom to the north. So we're still repairing. We're almost fully healed. And we got some friendly peasants. I thought Hammerstead sounded like, no. Heimstead, that was hostile to us. That means there should be a friendly town up in front of us. We need to set our first ambition. We need to get to good relations with a town. And we have found Hammerstad. Let's go take a look. Fairly large city. So with the deserter background, we need to try to focus on potentially... He's the grave robber? Yeah. We have to focus on combat backgrounds to join and be happy. These guys are all too expensive. We could afford one of the miners, the milkmaid, the widow. The vagabond. We may want to have that vagabond join up with us. Let's look at the marketplace. We don't have a melee weapon on Croker yet. We have axe and sword. We do have 2 good shields. One thing that could be good is Elmo has that really good range skill, is to get him some throwing weapons. Could spend half our cash on some javelins, which might help us here in the early game. That could be pretty powerful. Really worth 200. Those things are pretty boss, these tower shields. Nice. Really like these mods. Could use some better head protection. So if we can do some tasks here and gain some money, we could end up fairly well equipped and come out of here kind of decent, which would be a good start. Let me look at our initial armor. Padded surcoat, thick tunic, and a gambeson. Let's see what we have as far as contracts before we decide what to do. Bunsen of Hammersad looks at some of his books, perusing. I've got a shipment of particular goods going to Finstermark, and they're leaving soon. I need a bunch of sturdy swordsmen to help. Make sure it gets there safely. It should take you about a day of traveling. Are we up for it? I think that we may be. So let's talk cash. 10 crowns per head you arrive with, 25 heads at most. We're going to accept that offer. And we need some time to think about it because the day to the southeast. That could still be okay. So let's assume that southeast is this direction. It's not going to be a day to get around here and end up somewhere down here, so we should at least head in a somewhat into a somewhat safe direction as far as all our enemies. A bird is perched on Wyman's of Hammerstand's window. The man seated points at it. I wonder if that's how they got in. The brigands, I mean. I think they must have snuck through a window and then cut right back out. That's how they got away with my demonic statuette. The man slowly rises and stalks across the room. He crouches about ready to pounce on the bird, but the creature scatters before the man can so much as flinch. Damn. He returns to his seat, wiping his hands as if he worked up a sweat during his attempted avian ambush. My task is simple, Sellsword. Bring my property back to me. Kill the brigands too, if you wouldn't mind. Let's talk pay. He pauses his hands. I'm tight of crowns, so before you ask, this is all I have right now. It's 270 crowns when the contract is done. We're going to accept your offer. So we're going to go on a brigand hunt, and we are going to grab the javelins. And we're going to put them on Elmo. We're going to give it a go. That way we should have a little bit of cash. We'll be able to equip a little bit better. We're going to move a little bit of headgear to the front line. We'll just try to make our guys in the front as solid as we can for now. We have a little bit more repairs to do. I'm going to hope that we get most of those done by the time we track down the brigands. We don't have any real cash to bring anybody along, so we're just going to go and find them. There's 8 thieves, some bandit thugs, some bandit rabble poachers. That might be tough for us. 8 on 3. But we're going to try. We camp for a second. Should be able to heal and repair in 3 hours. most of the way there. So we're going to break camp. Chase after them. We catch the group of brigands lugging our employer's property around. They seem shocked that you have found them here, and there's no time wasted trying to parley. They arm themselves in order. You arm yourselves, and mess that all up. Charge. Some brigand thubs, some bandit rabble poachers. We're going to engage. So we have the high ground, which is great. We're going to move forward and try to hold that high ground. Got 62% across the board. We're going to take their polearm guy. Seem a little uncertain as to how to climb the hill correctly. That seems like the most powerful thug. Elmo nearly kills the brigand thug with 2 javelins. Finish him. Nice. That was lucky. We should probably try to kill this bowman before he starts really damaging us. Nice hit on him, Croaker. Hopefully he's going to bleed out. It may take a little bit. I'm trying to run interference so that we don't take more ranged hits. of fortunate. We're going to switch back to Javelin. Nice hit. Broker's too tired to fire. I think we're going to try to take care of those guys down there ranged. And we'll try. Elmo is pretty freaking deadly. Nice job, kid. Looks like they're going to retreat. See if we can get a shot on him before he gets out of range. It was a good victory for the Black Company. Get a little bit of potentially useful equipment. I'll take it. Let's see how we can. The battle's over. We retrieved the demonic statue from the wasted clutches of our enemies and prepare to return to the Wymond of Hammerstead. We will surely be happy to see of your success. Select our pay. But first, we're going to distribute a little bit of the spoils, which is, we're going to keep our original thick unit. This one's in better state of repair. Thanks, Powermonger. I wasn't quite sure we were going to survive that one. Get daggers onto everybody, I think. In case we can salvage some equipment. I'd be interested to get Croker a short bow. If we can get him some arrows. Even survived in first encounter. We may want to go with spear too. Let's level up one eye. I think initially we're going to take back to basics because it's such an across the board perk. And let's see. He really needs the help with resolve. So we're going to take that. I think we're going to keep initiative in the mix. We're going to give him a bit more range skill. And try to get him some strong weapons too. So not a bad start. Not a bad start. Alright, let's move back to the north and see if we can collect our spoils, and then we'll take that caravan contract and hopefully survive that piece. Wymond of Hammerstead grins as we enter. Sellsword, will you sell me word of your success? You take out the artifact and place it on his table. Sure. The man jolts forward in his chair and takes the item away. He turns back to you, calling himself and returning his composure. Good, you did good. Very good. 270 crowns as promised, and he hands over a sack of coins. Well deserved. And we pick up another potential contract before we take that. Let's see what it is. Bosun of Hammerstead is looking at a poorly drawn map and then looks up at you as though you are the one responsible for making it. Look, mercenary, this is a strange thing to task you with, but you seem to have a good head on your shoulders. See this dark spot here? Would you be willing to venture that way and try to find the toppled watchtower? It's somewhere around the region of the White Goat Mounds. For the right price, we will. Rest assured, that's what I'm offering you now as a fine prize for your work. You'll be paid 300 crowns when the contract is done. Try to give us a little more. I refuse. So the toppled watchtower is not far to the southwest and somewhere around the region of the White Goat Mounds. Accept that contract. Now I have a little bit of cash. We have some trash equipment. Don't have any more. Do we have anything ranged? We don't, that we could drop on. A little bit better equipment. We have 2 more days of provisions, so we should be able to get out and back before they're gone. I'm gonna grab a little bit more grain just to make sure we do. So the White Goat Mounds, somewhere to the southwest. It's gonna be nightfall soon. So I think what we're gonna do here, we don't have much to repair, but we're going to recycle these pieces. I'm gonna try to see if we can get to like this. Got to figure out where the White Goat Mounds are. It's probably these. I'm going to go ahead and camp. And we have salvage. Now that stuff already marked for salvage. I'm going to also salvage these 2. So, 1 eye and do the salvage. That's 10 hours. We don't really need a guy working on healing. We put them all on salvage. It's 5 hours. We'll repair our gear in the same amount of time. Go ahead and do it. Probably should have sent a guy out scouting so we could have got a little more intel on where we are. Okay, we're going to break camp. Time to get moving. I think we salvaged nearly everything we wanted. Let's see if we move north. Try to get onto one of these hills so we can improve our sight lines. Are these the White Goat Mounds? They certainly look like they could be. Let's try down here. Oh, we'll go a little bit further and get onto this little hilltop. Hummock. All this running about the land has increased the stamina of the men. One runs in place holding a finger to his neck. He remarks that his heart rate isn't going up at all. Another brother remarks that the guy doesn't even know how to count. The running man pauses. That's right. One eye gains a max fatigue. Waving his hand rather friendly-like, a man approaches you. You respond by unsheathing your sword halfway, and he laughs. So many are interested in the toppled watchtower, so I can't fault you for being so defensive. Look, I'll just tell you exactly where it is. Just not that far to the east of here, in the forest. He heads off, cackling with laughter. I don't know if I've done good or ill, and that's just the sort of fun I like. Much appreciated. But probably in this forest over here? any of this, really. Oh, there's the mounds. Come on, come on, come on, come on, find it. You'd think if it was in the ghostly plains, they would have told us. I'm going to keep looking here. Food's gotten down a little. Curious shipwreck. Check it out. A group of world-weary explorers, they seize up in the middle of the road, half covered in mud and half in leaves, and all in an unintentional camouflage. One rubs his forehead, eyeing you carefully before a smile widens. I know a searcher when I see one. You're looking for the toppled watchtower, ain't you? Well, you're in luck. We was just coming from there. Here, give me the map. I'll show you just where it is. You see, in the forest not to the northeast of where we are now. Okay, northeast. We'll take it. Appreciate it. A ship is wrecked amongst the trees, some of which have long since started to grow through it. As far as you're aware, there is neither sea nor river for miles. Elmo walks up and halts at the very sight. By the gods, is that a ship? You sigh and tell the company to stay here while you and the very observant sellsword go take a look. Let's see what secrets are inside. You step into the bowels of the ship. It's completely vacant save for a stump with an axe head chopped into it. Elmo looks at it. There's an axe head. Nodding, you say there it is indeed. But the metal of it carries veins of some sort of golden hue. Getting closer to the stump, you can see embers flittering upward out of the wedge. Elmo taps your shoulder, and you find him pointing into the dark of the ship. Skeleton, dead one. Just faintly you can see the pale bones. As you draw near, the clothing becomes apparent and readily obvious as royal attire. There's a cracked ale horn in one hand and a molded loaf of bread in the other. His jacket is blown open and shredded by splinters. Upon closer inspection, some of the wood is embedded in his brain pan. Let's inspect the stump. Seeing as how the skeleton and his beer and bread ain't going nowhere, you leave it be. The axe head, however, draws your eye again. Elmo walks over to the stump and the glowing wedge. He tries to take it out. Finding no luck there, he steps back and kicks it in further. The stump cracks in twain and the sellsword suddenly flies upside down, and the axe head shoots through the roof of the boat, and you can hear it clunk and clatter down the sides outside. Debris and smoke drift hazily about. The sellsword gets up and pats himself off. What in all hells was that? You shush him and point. A little golden goose squats where the stump's base used to be. There's a sheen of its metal and it glows and swirls. You've heard stories of a golden goose, but never thought they were anything but that. Is it real? Elmo stumbles forward. Sir, what are you doing? You wave him off and pick up the golden goose. Holding it in both hands, it feels oddly warm, and it isn't exploding or melting your face. You can feel its metal ripping ever so slightly against your fingers. It might even be growing. With the treasure safely huddled beneath your elbow, you wonder why the skeleton didn't fare better. Elmo walks up and touches the golden goose on its head, but quickly recoils. You asked if it burned him. The sellsword purses his lips. Really, sir? Was it not obvious? He sticks his fingers in his mouth. You tell him not to be so snappy with his commander, or you throw the goose at him and see if it makes short work of him as it did the skeleton. The man shrugs. Oh, look at the man chosen by a shiny bauble. Put a blade beneath a wing so it can knight ye. Or hells, why not put it on your head and you can call yourself king already? You look down at the goose. A drop of red blood runs down its length, turns gold, and drops to the ground with a tiny plink. You pick it up and bite it. The gold smushes satisfyingly in your teeth, and then you throw it to Elmo. It does not burn him this time, and you realize you may have found the genuine golden goose from the tales. Regain a golden goose. So, generates 50 crowns daily. That's kind of awesome. So that should take care of our cash problem here in the early game. And we're going to go northeast and find the dang tower. Just in the... We pay out 41 a day. Where the heck? There we go. Yeah, it was a good find, right? Well, it's already time to return to Bosun of Hammerstead, as the toppled watchtower was easier to find than you figured. Marking it on your map, you pause and chuckle and shake your head. What luck. Time to head back. Yeah, that was a good quality find, so cash is no longer an issue for us. See if we can get in there before nightfall. Nah. We report back to Bosun of Hammerstead, telling him of the toppled watchtower's location. He nods and scribbles, copying the notes from your map. Curious, you ask how he knows you're not lying. The man sits down in a chair and leans back, clasping his hands over his belly. I invested in a tracker who kept close to your company. He made it here before you did, and you've but confirmed what I already know. Hope you don't mind the measures taken. Nodding, you think it a wise move and take your pay to go. We gain 300 crowns and 26 experience. I think we want to hang out till morning because we can pick up a little bit better equipment. And now we're running in the positive, essentially, for our cash flow, which is awesome. We're going to pick up a caravan contract, so we're not going to use our food. We have tools and supplies. So let's go into camp and think. If we don't put anybody on salvage, I don't think we're going to salvage that item. But I somewhat feel like we may want to train and maybe hunt or gather. I think our guys are really good at this stuff. I think we're just going to train through the night. Elmo gets 25 experience. Like that would have... Oh, that did. That jumped Elmo up a level. Nice. So, he is using back to basics, which is giving him all of that range skill. Let's see what we're going to do perks-wise. And these new skills in PTR are kind of cool. Like, they just add a lot of variety. I'd like to pick up something that buffs his throwing weapons. Bring up attacks do 5% more damage and have an action point cost reduced per one tile moved before throwing. Which could be kind of like a skirmisher style perk too. You could back off and toss. Could be not bad. You could take Bullseye to reduce the clear line of fire debuff. We could also Phalanx so that we buff our other brothers with shields to gain an additional 5 melee defense. Dodge. Cover ally. Executioner. Could take crippling strikes to do a bunch of damage. Definitely adds a lot of variety to what we may want to do. Leaning towards 5% more damage. That's really not that much, right? 5%. We're talking like 2 to 3, maybe. That doesn't feel great. Because if we move, we'll still not gain back enough to like make 2 throws. That marked target seems kind of powerful. Hybridization. Hatchet, throwing axe, spear, javelin, they're all the same. Gain 10% of your base range skill as melee skill. That would be 6. Additionally, well, base. I'm not sure if that's considered base because of the buffs. Additionally, when wielding a throwing weapon, gain 10% of your base melee skill as range skill. Let's give that a shot, see what happens. Hybridization. Okay, buff to both melee and range skill. We'll take it. Like it. That's a good combo. Okay. So we're going to give him a little more fatigue. Sure. 15 minus 5 melee skill. Steady hands. Intent. He's got 35 resolve. Back to basics is helping melee defense, range skill, range defense, and resolve. I think we're going to go fatigue. We're going to do all the ones that back to basics doesn't touch, which will be health, initiative, and fatigue. That way we get full points for those. Let's take a look in the store. See what we can do in terms of any better equipment that we might want to pull in. A piece of headgear is not bad. We have enough to repair it. We also have our archer in only a thick tunic at the moment. We could toss a jacket on top. That would be the cheapest way to buff him up a little more. Simpler full leather jacket. Simple mail shirt. The layered armor system in Legends is pretty interesting too. I think it's probably my favorite thing about it. And we have another batch of javelins. So One Eye is similarly capable in terms of ranged attack. I think we're going to pick that up now. So a fair bit of our cash. I don't know if either of these guys have... Morning, Jackie. I don't know if either of these guys have access to quick hands. Let's see. What else? Oh, he already had the leather jacket on a thick tunic. We picked it up off the brigands. the cache to pick up anybody new. Except for maybe the flagellant, but flagellant, a little weird, self-harming. Any of those guys besides Erhard the Meek who would push us outside and back into the red as far as cash. We're going to pick up that headgear. We're going to drop it on Elmo. We're going to move his leather cap back to broker and set that to be recycled next time. And I think we're going to go ahead and take this contract and see where it leads us. I think I'm going to take the stream to an end. It's 2 hours 15. Getting to be sunlight here in early morning. Looks like we got some barbarians. Yeah. All right. Let's see how we do. We have the high ground. We're going to try to take advantage of that. Get up one level. We got a bunch of thralls with mostly spear. Nice shot. One eye's gonna move up. We're gonna try to spread some damage. No luck. I want to get Elmo up to high ground. He's not going to be able to throw this turn. Oh, they have throwing. Going to be a javelin off. They're out hitting adrenaline. They're going to pelt us with spears. Fortunately, the caravan guys are actually helping. Isn't always the case. But I think they're not going to be the better for it. Nice hit. I gotta kill the donkey. Nice hits, Elmo. So do we try to protect the donkeys, or do we try to minimize the attackers? I think that caravan guard is going to go up and engage this guy, which should hopefully stop him from throwing and try to kill that guy. Come on, move up. Good. There are guys that have a spear. As is Elmo. Save the donkeys. What do we do? We go up the high ground and I don't think we do. I think we assume this guy's going to go down. He's lost all his armor. He's pretty wounded. If we move forward here, we're not going to get an attack off. And he'll likely die, and then we'll get surrounded. Kind of interested if I can pick up these javelins. I'm not sure I can. I wouldn't have the energy to do so anyways. Let's just see. Yeah, I can't. Hold that ground. Kill him. Move back. That little spot there is kind of interesting. We can't really get to it easy. We need to try to concentrate fire. Elmo's out of I think we're gonna lose that donkey. One eye gets 2 good hits on the masked brawl. Yeah, 1 donkey down. There's a second one there? Yeah, there is. Broker's too tired. try to get that high ground behind the barbarian. Reload but can't shoot. Nice, we pierce his hand with a good crossbow shot. Got another hit on him. Pierced hand, deep abdominal cut. Hopefully he should be weakened, or he doesn't kill Elmo. And he's running. Because of the ground and snow. Move back up in case. Too tired to do anything. Nice job. It's over. So we got some decent equipment out of that and some decent loot. Nice. Very nice. It was kind of lucky we had the caravan guards as blood bags. Alright, let's take a look at that. Upgrades and armor. That Aventail. Aventail alone is better than the Akaton cap. Then we can toss the toss a headband on it at 10. Both need a repair. Need repairs or the bare headpiece. Thanks for the follow, Power Marker. Appreciate it. I think we're gonna go full barbarian and put the looks a little silly, but we'll take it. Sackcloth, animal hide armor. It's 30 on top. Whereas our leather jacket is only 25 on top. Gonna repair that. Alright, we have I think for the most part, actually. Move things around a little bit. Musical chairs, armor. Alright, so one eye. Let's see what we can do for you. Again, your back to basics is giving you decent buffs across the board of melee skill, defense, ranged, and ranged defense resolve. Resolve still sucks. I think we're going to give you the health. We're going to give you the initiative. And we're going to give you the fatigue. Now, perks wise, Exploits opening is a new one. Whenever an opponent misses you, they are affected by exploit opening effect until their next turn for 10%. Gives us more riposte skill. Head Smasher Heft. Backstabber. Steel Brow. Cover ally and dodge. Versatile weapon when wielding a sword. 5% damage, penetration, and effectiveness. We do have a sword. That could be useful. Pointy end. Kind of feel like having better movement wouldn't be a bad thing. I think Pathfinder could be effective to helping us move around and keep throwing. Dodge. I kind of like the theory of that Phalanx too. And just a 10% buff to hit the head would be good too. And take a 10% buff to head hits. And then maybe we get Head Smasher later, which ups our damage to head hits. Okay, like it. Alright, I'll come to help with the dogs. As soon as this is over, though, I'll be right there, Jack. Alright, let's see. Back to basics. And we have a mountain lion incursion in our local living area. And so all dog walking in the morning has to be accompanied for the moment. So gotta head out and take the hounds. There's melee skill, melee defense. So we're only getting +1 melee skill. Let's see what we got here. So if we just do this, we'll probably lose that +1. We'll end up +2. We'll end up in the positive though. Get a +4 on melee ranged attack. We're gonna take that. We're gonna take a fatigue buff because he keeps on running out of breath, and we're gonna take his initiative buff. Perks wise, cover, balance, Spearwaller, sanguinary. Chance to inflict fatalities up by 50%. Likes to bleed people. That's an interesting one. Entrenched. When using a rage weapon and standing adjacent to an ally wielding a melee weapon who is not engaged in melee, gains 7 range skill. Bonus increases by +2 every turn. Up to +15 as long as you continue to start your adjacent turn. There are. So, I mean, this is a combination of the 2 mods that I'm running, which is Legends and PTR. And it really mixes it up, but I like it. It makes it much more RPG-ish in my mind. Take aim. Instead of just picking the same things every time, because it offers like a filtered list based on RNG and like the backgrounds of the guys and their perks, which just makes it less repetitive. I tended to take the same skills for every guy in the front line and the same skills for every polearm guy, and this at least makes it more to strategize about, I guess. Due to a term, every successful... I like the bleeding thing, but the entrenched thing fits our deal. Ally wielding a melee weapon who is not engaged in melee. Up to 15. That's kind of powerful if we get a guy in the back line. I would suggest it. I have a ridiculous number of hours in this game. It's pretty solid. It's got really good replay value because of the random generation. I don't know if you can play mods on Xbox. Essentially, you need to add some files to the data directory to do it. But it's even without mods, it's a good game. And they've been supporting it for years now with DLCs, and they just announced another free DLC where they're going to add some more content. It's a solid, good game. So I would recommend for certain. I think we're going to go entrenched. I think I like that. If we get a backline guy with a pole arm who's a melee weapon and he's not going to be engaged, that's going to give us a ranged buff. I think that could end up being pretty powerful. All right, animal hide armor. I don't think we... I think we're going to fix that up. Yeah. See if we can make it to town. Find an abandoned wagon amongst some tall reeds. Elmo checks it out and barks back. It's broken shit, but I think we can salvage some parts off it. We gain 8 tools and supplies. That's not bad. Keep move on. Oh no. Ah, dang it. Alright, let's see what we do. We're in worse shape this time. Alright, we need to wait on them coming to us, which they may or may not do. Is it going to be a throw off? Alright. I'm going to take their spearmen. I'm worried about the damage they'll do to our armor. Nice shot. One eye. Let's see what Elmo can do. I think we're going to concentrate fire. We've now grazed his neck. And he's down. A blast. We took that axe to the headgear. Move over a tile. I went after him because he had no shield. Switch to sword. Got one off his head. Switch to axe. We're going to get rid of his shield if we can. Ooh. We could be in a bad spot here. Broker got a shot on the barbarian thrall and pierced his cheek. Elmo just got hit pretty rough. Man, we should have waited on that. I could have broke his shield. We're gonna try to kill him. It turns out he's a pretty hairy dude underneath. We're bleeding. I think Elmo's got a pack of bandages. Broker misses when it would have counted. He should be near death, and but he's not bleeding. Oh man. Broker doesn't have. It's a kill. How bad am I bleeding out? 5 hit points a turn. He's got 34. Can't move because he's too tired. He's going after the... Ah, dang it. Got this bug. Got this funny bug where every now and then part of the UI disappears. I'm trying to pierce your armor. No. Nice. We just have to go full bore and see if we can kill her. Just trying to beat our mules. Nice job. I'm gonna throw back on a spear because we can hit her this turn. Nice. Take it. Didn't think we were gonna necessarily get through that one. Elmo got beat up pretty good. I'm coming, Jackie. Let's just see if we can make it to town. Get any level ups? We did. I need to go walk the dogs though, so I'm going to just let it run out. We reach Finstermark. The caravan leader turns to us, satchel in hand. It's lighter than you expected. It is, he continues. Not every cart made it, and they didn't. I'm just the messenger for Bosun of Hammerstein. Please don't kill me. We won't, although nah. We gain 105 crowns. That didn't go well. So we make it, and we're still in a pretty good spot. We found another friendly town that we can try to do business with. Actually, two. I think this is off to a good start for this play on the Black Company. Definitely Power Mark. So I'm going to go do some morning stuff, and now that it is fully arisen here, thanks for watching. Thanks again for the follow, Power Marker. If you pick up the game, I hope you enjoy it. These will be up on VOD, so if people are watching this later, thanks for watching it later. I'm going to pick it up again maybe later today sometime. So have a good day, y'all.